In the advanced course, I learned about projects, and I was so glad that I had jumped from basic to advanced that quickly, because my very first client, guys, needed projects. In fact, that's how I landed the job. Hey everybody, this is Margie Remmers-Davis, and I am so delighted to be here for today's live stream. If you are watching the recording, this live stream happens every week inside our QBO Gym Locker Room Facebook group. And let me just show you really quick. All right, so as a member of the QBO Gym Locker Room, you get to participate in these weekly live streams, and you have access to nearly 100 and constantly growing hands-on practice exercises for actually using QBO. So I hear bookkeepers all the time, or people who want to be bookkeepers and learn. There's all sorts of training available out there from us, Fast and Easy QBO, and from others. But there isn't a whole lot of hands-on practice. So that is what we do. That's what we do here in the locker room, is we work on a QBO and then talk about it together. So inside the locker room, if you know, this is the admin view, so it's going to look a little bit different for me than it would for you. But there is a featured post right here that says, "Welcome to the locker room." And that's where you're going to grab the link to that spreadsheet that I just showed you. On the spreadsheet down at the bottom, my face is covering it up here. Let me just get rid of my face for a second. All right. You'll notice that there are different tabs. So the Getting Started tab, those are our basic exercises. If you don't know how to use QBO at all, we're going to have a free course coming with this, which is coming soon. When you're watching the replay, maybe it'll be there. And then the exercises here, basic. These are all of the exercises that come from our Fast and Easy QBO basic certification course. So you get all of those for free, even if you are not in the course. Same with advanced. The Pro Advisor challenges are the exercises that are inside your Intuit QBOA account. They're they're sort of like exercises, but what we've done is we are translating them into our standard signature Fast and Easy QBO method, so that you can actually do them hands-on. And then the last tab here is our retired. Down at the bottom, these are ones that were created for previous versions of the test. They are not on this year's version. And so you can still access them if you'd like. And then we get requests all the time. So as you request different exercises, we put them in our spreadsheet here, and you'll notice all of this yellow says, "Margie, create this." And so I will be getting to those. These videos, the quality of the videos that you are watching, I don't know about now on the live stream, but certainly on the if you're watching it on YouTube on the replay, the quality is just in the toilet. And so I'm looking for a new solution. So if you have experience with other streaming platforms that have really crisp, crystal clear quality, I would love to hear from you. So comment in the chat, in below, whatever. All right, so today we are going to be working through one of our advanced exercises, all about projects. So you'll find it here in the advanced tab, and it is this one right here, all about projects. But before we do that, I promised in the group that we would go over something that Intuit just announced yesterday, which is a new interface for invoices. QBO Intuit is completely changing the way invoices are handled, and so I'm going to show you that a little bit today. Joe asked me where to get the Excel file. Again, if you're watching this live, which you must be, Joe, then inside the Facebook group, in the featured section, there is this post right here that says, welcome to the locker room. And that's where you're going to find the link to all of the free exercises. For the exercises that we're going over today, Joel is going to post them in the chat in a little bit. And if you're watching the replay on YouTube, then they are in the description. All right. You're welcome, Joe. No problem. All right. So yesterday, let me just put my big face up here again. All right. So look at that ginormous link that Joel just put in the chat. Okay. So let me explain what happened. All right. So Intuit is in the process of completely revamping how we send invoices in QBO. They announced this several months ago, and we just kind of been, and they said, oh yeah, we're rolling it out. We're rolling it out. And I've been watching and waiting for this to happen. I really love that they gave us advanced notice, because so many times they just roll something out and don't even tell us about it. I guess this is significant enough that they decided that we actually needed to know, and that they weren't just going to surprise us. So months ago, they announced that they were going to do this. And then just yesterday, they talked about it some more, and they released a kind of a prototype so that we could, we as accountant users could kind of play around with it and see what it is like. So the way that I found out about this is every month, Intuit hosts what's called an In the Know webinar. I don't talk about it very much because honestly, usually the In the Know seminar or the In the Know webinar doesn't have a whole lot of useful information for our purposes. So I don't talk about it, but you can you can Google it or whatever, QBO In the Know webinars. You can sign up if you want to go. Yesterday, as I mentioned, the product manager got up and he demonstrated the new thing, and then sent us this gave us this prototype link. So I followed the link. Oh, one more thing before we do this. So here's the schedule of release for this new invoice interface. Okay. Right now, all new QBO subscriptions have the new interface. Okay. Not QBOA, not accountants, We don't get it, but our clients all new subscriptions have this interface, and they are slowly rolling it out to everybody. By the end of this year, 2023, 100% of everybody, including accountant users, will have this new invoice interface. Okay, so that's the rollout schedule. So I played around with this prototype yesterday, and I found it confusing. Not the new interface thing, but how to use this prototype. So I just thought I would take the first few minutes of our call here today and walk through it with you. Okay, so you've got the link. If you are in the locker room, we also emailed it to you. So look in your email if you need it in the future. When you follow that link, you're going to get to this starting page. Okay. And it shows you, I was so excited when I saw the word test drive, because I thought, oh, it's going to be a sample company. It's not really a sample company. It's really just pictures that you can click. But still, okay. So there are 4 what they're calling flows, so workflows, that they are demonstrating in this little prototype. Okay. The first one is convert estimate to invoice. I don't know why they picked that one first, because I feel like that's the one we use the least. I feel like they should have used one of these other ones first. Convert estimate to invoice. If for those of you who are in the gym, so the QBO Gym is our subscription product that in addition to all of the free exercises, you get additional exercises. And our focus of the month this last month was estimate, all about estimates. So if you're in the gym and you went through all of and you learned all about estimates and how to convert to estimate, then you might want to go through this. Otherwise, I probably wouldn't do this one first. I found it confusing. Okay. The next one is invoice views. So you can, one of the great things about the new interface, the invoice interface, is, or what they're calling invoice experience, is you can write in the invoice, you can see what the PDF is going to look like to the customer, what the invoice is going to look like, what the email is going to be. That's quite a bit different. The next one is to actually practice populating the invoice. And then the last one is invoice settings. Okay, so when you click on go to the first flow, okay, so here is the first flow. Here is the one that is open. It says convert estimate to invoice. This is the first workflow. But down here on the bottom right, you can go through the different ones. So if you don't want to start with that one, you can click there and you can see how this now previous goes back to the previous one. And then this one goes to the next one. And for each of these flows, they have instructions. So they have a link that says open the prototype. And then they have these instructions for what all you can do in the prototype to kind of play around with it. So I might suggest that you do this one first. I'll open it up in a minute. But there are lots of things here that you can do. And then finally, again, I'm in the bottom right-hand corner here. Then you go to the next one, which is invoice actions and settings. So this page that we're looking at is all of the instructions. This is not the actual prototype, obviously. Okay. So when I go back, so I'm going to click previous right here, populate the invoice. Then when I click this actually is what opens up the prototype that we're playing around with. Okay, so it takes a minute to load. Okay, and this is what it looks like. And can you see here? Let me move this down just a smidge so you can see. Yeah. Okay, so now what it has done, it has opened up the prototype in a different window. And then you can go switch back to the tab. I meant tab. You can switch back. Right here is the instructions. So here it says, try it out. This flow consists of some subflows. Once any of these started, you need to click through the entire subflow until you can interact with the other subflows. Okay, so let's say we just do this first one, add input for a custom field. Click on the repeat customer form field on the form to add some input to the field. Okay, so I'm going to go back to this. Okay, and where is the custom field? Let me go back to my instructions. Oh, repeat customer form. Okay. Click on the repeat customer form field on the form to add some input to the field. Okay, so here we're going to click on that to add that. So I'm not actually typing yes. In real world, I think I would actually type yes. I think because the way that this prototype works, we're really just clicking through pictures. And then let's see, click on it again to remove that input before interacting with anything else in this flow. Okay, so I could hit yes, then I would take it off, and then I can start again to do all of these things. All right, so we're not going to go through all of these things today on the live stream. I just wanted to show you, give you the link and kind of show you how it works so that you can go back and play around with it and see, as you can see, the new invoice is quite a bit different than what we're used to. I don't know. I find it, what's going to happen is they're going to like roll out this new invoice but all the other screens are going to stay the same. Like all the other screens, the sales receipt is going to look like the old style. So I kind of wish they were updating everything at once so everything worked the same way, but oh well, that's neither here nor there. Okay. All right. So that is the invoice prototype. I'm going to leave you to go and do it yourself so you can check it out. All right, so let's go to the purpose of why we're here today, and that is today's exercise. So today we are going to be working on practice using projects. Now, projects is an advanced topic. It comes from this particular exercise, comes from section 1, lesson 5 of the advanced certification course. Don't let that scare you. Just because if you're brand new, then don't worry. You can still walk through the exercises. And I had gotten a lot of feedback. Now, I want to point out at the bottom of all of these exercises is a little form that says send feedback. So when you send the feedback, you have to enter the exercise number so that we know what you're talking about. And the exercise number is always here in brackets. Okay. And then you can let us know if something doesn't make sense or if something has changed, like if the QBO interface has changed or the button number has changed or something like that, so that we can go in and we can change it for you and push that out to everybody. So you always have the latest and greatest of the exercises. And I had gotten some feedback that there was a step people weren't understanding. And so I took the time this week to revamp this entire exercise. As I went in to go fix that one thing, I noticed that QBO had changed a button label, and there were just some things I could do to make it more clear. And so I revamped this whole exercise. And so I thought it would be really good to walk through the new and improved version of this exercise. Now, projects is a way to track, and I just clicked exercise to get to the actual exercise here. Projects is a way to track income and expenses. It's used for businesses that work by contract. Okay, so for say a catering company has a wedding. There's one wedding, and you want to track all the income and expenses for that particular for that particular wedding. You want to, and your business owner wants to make sure that they're always profitable. So that's what projects are used for. Now, as I mentioned, this is an advanced level exercise, and people are always asking me here. This is important. Let me put my big face back up again. Okay. So people are always asking me if how much time they should wait in between taking the basic level certification and getting their advanced level certification. Super common question. And it's a really tough question for me to answer because on the one hand, for these advanced concepts, you do in fact need to have some familiarity with QBO, and you can take the basic certification. You can do more and more exercises, so that's really helpful. Intuit actually recommends that you wait months or years before attempting the advanced certification. But here's the thing. Now, when I got my own certification, and you probably know my whole story. I got divorced. I was trying to get my life together, figure out what I was doing. And I was urgent, I need to know this as soon as possible. And so I jumped into the advanced course. And in the advanced course, I learned about projects, and I was so glad that I had jumped from basic to advanced that quickly, because my very first client, needed projects. In fact, that's how I landed the job, because as I talked to her, and it says wow, it sounds like you need projects. So anyway, so it's super important that this is a really helpful tool. It's important that you know this, even if you don't feel like you're ready for that advanced test. Okay, let's get back to our actual exercise. And Joel has put it in the chat. And also those of you in the locker room it's also in the email that I sent. Okay. So as always, we are going to start in the sample company. So here I am in the sample company. If you are brand new, you don't know how to get your free QBOA account, you don't know how to get into the sample company, and you're watching the recording, then the link is below. If you are watching this live, hopefully you know how to do that, and all of the information is there in the locker room in that same welcome post, Okay. All right. So here I am in my sample company. No, I'm not in the sample company. That was my QBOA account. I need to go to the sample company. Okay. And while that's loading, let's read our scenario. Okay. So this scenario, it's quite long. That's why we're only doing one in today's live stream. We're only doing one exercise because it consists of several parts. And you want to make sure that you do all the parts of this exercise in the same session of the sample company because they're going to build on one another. Okay. So here is part one. Sushi by Katsuki has asked your client Craig to install a Japanese fountain at the entrance to their restaurant. Craig will be charging them $1,690 for one rock fountain, one fountain pump, $150 of garden lighting, 6 hours of custom design, and 2 full days of installation. Craig would like to make sure that his profit margin stays above 30% for this. Use projects to set up and track this for him. Okay, so here's the key thing. All that we're doing is we are going to watch our profit margin. And that's the great thing about projects is that we'll be able to see as it goes along, you'll be able to see what that is. Okay. All right, so step one, we're going to have to turn this on in the sample company. Now, sometimes the sample company already has this on and sometimes it doesn't. So we're just going to make sure that we have it turned on. So I went to, here's the gear icon, account and settings. Step two, we're going to click the advanced tab and then the projects section. Okay, so I'm going to go to the advanced tab. And then right down here, I want to make sure I'm not covering it up. All right, right down here is the projects section. Now, if you are fairly new to QBO, you might not know this, that for each of these account and settings, there you can see how they're kind of grouped into these sections. And there is a little pencil up here that says, okay, I want it to edit the items in this section. But you don't actually have to click the pencil. You can just click anywhere in the section and it will open that section up for editing. Okay, so let me go back to our exercise. Okay, so we clicked anywhere in the section to open it up. Okay, next we're going to click the slider to turn on organize all non-related activity. I think that is a typo. That's a typo, Joel. Job-related activity is what it's supposed to say. So he's going to fix that right now. And if next time you follow along with this, it will be correct. Okay. Organize all job-related activity in one place. Then we're going to click save and click done. Okay. All right. So right here, organize all job-related activity in one place. We're going to click that slider to turn it on. Then we're going to click save. And then we're going to wait for that to save. And then we are going to click done. All right, while that's loading, we'll go to our next step, which is step 4. Okay, now that we have it turned on, we're ready to begin our project. So from the left navigation bar, we're going to click projects, then click start a project. Now, of course, we're only seeing this because this is the very first time we're creating a project. So I'm clicking projects. And then we kind of have this welcome screen. And you may have seen this before. Usually when we do things for the very first time, there's some kind of a welcome screen here, but it'll look different once you actually start using projects. Okay, so I click start a project, and now it's going to ask me for some information about the project. So let's go back to our exercise. Step 5, for project name, enter Japanese fountain. And for customer, select Sushi by Katsuki. Then we're going to leave the remaining fields as is and click Save. Okay, so we're calling it Japanese Fountain. Japanese Fountain. Customer is, Sushi. Bye. Making me hungry for sushi, guys. All right, and then we're going to click Save. Okay, so going back to our exercise, step 6. Note that you will likely need to close the informational pop-ups in the sample company before proceeding with the next step. And sure enough, we've got all these pop-ups. I used to think that these pop-ups were only because it was the sample company, but I've actually seen them in real life too. So I don't know, they're kind of annoying. You could go through them if you wanted to get all of the little instruction as they tell you about this stuff, but you don't need to right now because we're going through it. Okay, so this now is your project. Okay, this is all of the information so far about the project, which is nothing. There's nothing there. So let's go back to the exercise. What we're going to do is we're going to click the Add to Project button and select Invoice. Okay, so right here, we're going to Add to Project, and we're going to select Invoice. Okay, so let's go to steps 7 through 8. We're going to create the invoice as described in the scenario. 1 rock fountain, 1 fountain pump, $150 of garden lighting, 6 hours of custom design, 2 full days, which is, you have to do some math here, it's 2 times 8 hours. So we're going to put in 16 hours of installation. So let's go ahead and do that. 1 rock fountain, 1 fountain pump. 1 rock fountain, 1 fountain pump. What's next? $150 of garden lighting. Okay, so we're going to say garden lighting. Okay, so notice that when we put in these first 2, these products already had the rate set up for them. That came through the products and services list. The rate was predetermined. In our case, for the garden lighting, it's not already there. So we said we're charging them for $150 worth of garden lighting. We don't actually know how much that garden lighting is going to cost us for real, but that's how much we've decided to charge them. Okay, so next we're going to go to 6 hour, we're going to say 6 hours of custom design. So we're going to say custom, there it is, custom design, 6 hours. Again, the rate, that's that hourly rate, is already programmed into QuickBooks Online. And then 2 full days, so that's 16 hours of installation. Okay, so we're going to say installation, and that rate is 50. It's already in there, but now we're going to say it's 2 full days, which is what? 16 hours. Okay, so our balance for our invoice is what we said in the scenario, $1,690. Okay, so notice that QBO already filled in all of the customer information because it's encoded in the project. Let's take a look at that. So up here, all of this Sushi by Katsuki is already in there, because remember how we started this? We were inside the project and we clicked add invoice. So that's already in there. So now we can just click save and close. In this case, we never click save and send in our exercises because you can't actually send in the sample company. So we are just going to click save and close right there. In the real world, of course, we would actually send it off. And also in the real world, they would have a different invoice interface, at least at the time of this recording. We'll see. Okay, so that is the first part. So let's take a look now at what has happened to the project. Okay, we'll read this together. Note that QBO has automatically begun tracking the income associated with this project. Because the accounting method has been set to accrual in account and settings. If the client had this set to cash, you would not see the income until the invoice was paid. Okay, so here we go. This is now what our project looks like. So far, we have $1,690 in income. Again, this is only showing in the project because this account is set to accrual. In accrual-based accounting, and it's important that you understand this, in accrual-based accounting, you consider that you have the money when the invoice is sent, not when it's actually paid. In cash basis accounting, then you don't actually consider it income until you get that check from Sushi by Katsuki. Okay, so, but in this case, all right, now look how it automatically also calculated some costs. Even though all we put in is that invoice, how does it know what the costs are? Well, let's read this further. Okay. Also note that QBO automatically tracks the cost of the fountain and pump. This is because they are inventory products and were already in stock. The cost of the garden lighting has not yet been included because it hasn't yet been purchased. So that's going to be our next step. Okay. So here again, here are the costs, the cost of goods sold. This comes from the fountain and the pump that were inventory products, and then we already had them in inventory, which means we have in the past purchased them. So QBO knows how much they cost us. Okay, so let's go back to our scenario part 2. Now, Craig had the rock fountain and pump in stock, but he had to go buy the lighting. He picked up the items for $152.10 from a new vendor called Crystal Lighting Supply. We're going to create an expense for this transaction. Okay, so from the plus new button, we're going to create expense. Okay, plus new, and we're going to hit expense. Now, I could, let me just exit out of this for a minute. I could use this add to project and select expense. The reason that I'm doing it from the plus new button is just to show you how you can do it these two different ways. Okay, so I'm going to hit expense. Okay, then step 2. In the payee field, we're going to type Crystal Lighting Supply. Okay, and then click plus add new because this is a new vendor, new Crystal Lighting Supply. Okay, so in the payee field, I'm going to type Crystal Lighting Supply. And I hit tab, which is why you didn't see that add new. Let me do that again so you can see. Okay, so if as I was typing, this showed up. Okay, so I could also hit tab plus add new. There's nothing else that we need to track about Crystal Lighting Supply right now, and so we're just going to click save. You could also put more information in there. Okay, so this is what we just did. I'm going to hit step 3. We just hit click save, which is what I just did. And then steps 4 through 6. In the category field, we're going to enter fountain and garden lighting. Okay, note that there are 2 similarly named accounts in the chart of accounts. One that is fountain and garden lighting, which is a sub-account of job expenses, job materials, and fountains, this one has an S, and garden lighting, which is a sub-account of landscaping services. There's another typo there, Joel. It should only be there once. Job materials, and we're going to select the first one. Okay, so I'm going to go back to my expense. I'm going to use the category details because this is not a thing I keep in, this is not something I keep track of, individual light bulbs, right? So that's why I'm using category and not item details. So for the category, I am going to type fountain. Here we go. As I type fountain, you'll notice there's two here, fountain, no S, fountain with an S, okay? So if I click this one, S, you can see that it is, the category is landscaping services, job materials. That's not the one we want. We want this one, no S. And you can see job expenses, job materials. Okay, so that's the one we want. If I were Craig's bookkeeper, I would want to clean that up a little bit, because it's not fun to have to try and guess like which of these categories they are. Okay, so we could add, did I have you add in a description? No, we're just going to put in the amount. Now we got the bill. Where was our scenario? In the amount field, enter $152. Let me go back to the scenario for a minute. Did I say in the scenario? Yep. He picked up the items for $152.10. So we budgeted, not budgeted, but we charged them for $150, but our actual expense was $152. So already that means our profit margin is going to go down a little bit, right? So in the amount field, we're going to enter $152.10 right here, $152.10. And now we want to make sure, and this is super important, that this is connected to that project. We want to know how much are we spending on that project, not just how much money is coming in. This is the whole point of profitability, is to know, to compare the income and expenses for just this one project. Okay, so right here in the customer project field, I'm going to enter Japanese fountain. Japanese fountain is the name of the project, and it's considered a kind of like a sub-customer of Sushi by Katsuki. You can see right here, here's the customer, and it automatically is attached to that Japanese fountain. Oops, what did I do? Okay. All right, so now we're going to click Save and Close. Okay, Save and Close. All right, notice what happened to our project. Okay, so now we have the more expenses here. So this total has gone up. Cost of goods sold, these are the inventory products that we previously purchased. And now we have a new expense. And I can actually use these arrows or just click on it to drill down further. This is job expenses, job materials, and here's that fountain and garden lighting. So you can see that the even more details there. If I wanted to, and I don't have this in the exercise, but we could actually click here and you'll see even more specifics. So you can see here that it was an expense and it was crystal lighting supply, okay? But I didn't want to throw you off in the exercise with too many steps. Okay, so here we are back in, this is inside the project. This is not the project center. This is the inside the individual project, the Japanese fountain. Okay, so let's go to, we're taking a look now at the project. I already showed you, this is exactly what I just showed you. Click the arrows to open it up more. That's crystal lighting. Okay, all right, let's go to step 3. Or part 3 of our scenario. Okay. So Craig's employee, Emily Platt, did the design work for the project, but it only took her 5.7 hours. Remember how much we're charging? We're charging for 6 hours of her time. Okay. But it only took her 5.75 hours, which means that's going to affect our profitability. Profitability is going to go up. Okay, so Craig is charging Sushi by Katsuki a flat fee, not for her time, but he still wants to account for his employee expenses on the project. In total, Emily costs Craig $25 an hour. Use a single timesheet activity to track this. Okay, so Let's gonna scroll here. Step 1. Okay. Now, before entering Emily's time, you will need to enter her rate. To do this, you will need to go to the Project Center. The Project Center is where you can see the status of all projects at once. And this is where in the previous version of this exercise, people were missing this step because they're inside the projects right here, and there's no way to add the hourly rate for Emily inside the project. You have to go to the Project Center. The way you do that is you can either click here to go to all projects, or you can click here on the left navigation bar to go to the same place, all projects. Okay, you'll notice that we have hourly cost rates are missing. This is, if you want to track your employees' time, you need to say how much they cost you. So on our exercise, step 2, note that you will likely need to close the informational pop-ups in the sample company before proceeding with the next step. That's what we just did. Some hourly cost rates are missing. We're going to hit that. Okay. So now how do we do that? We click this button, Employee Hourly Rate. Now, this is the button that changed, the QBO changed. Okay. It used to be called Hourly Cost Rate. Now it's called Employee Hourly Rate. So that's what we're going to click. Okay. And I'm going to go back to my exercise. Okay. This is what we just did. Step 2, Employee Hourly Rate. Okay. Steps 3 through 5. On the Emily Platt row, click Add, then Emily's rate as $25. Now, this next part is super important. Note that this is not how much Emily is paid. Rather, the cost rate is how much Emily costs Craig. That includes not only how much she is paid, but also the taxes and other overhead he has to pay, right? He has to pay for the space, her office space. He has to pay for his computer, like all of that stuff. Okay. So this is, and you don't have to calculate that. His accountant can calculate that and tell you what it is. Okay. It's also not the billable rate for Emily. Okay. The billable rate, which we saw when we did the invoice, was $75 an hour. Well, we're not paying Emily $75 an hour, and Emily doesn't even cost us $75 an hour. But this is how much it costs us to have her on staff. Okay. So we're going to enter $25. Then we're going to click Save and Done. And this is a very, very strange thing. Okay. So we're going to click Add right here, and we're going to enter 25. Okay. So that's $25 an hour. And strangely, we have to click this Save button right here. Why don't they have just save and close down here like they have for everything else? I don't know. Why can't it just assume that we need to save it? I don't know. But, it's Intuit. I have a love-hate relationship with Intuit, guys. All right, so we have to click Save right here. It's an annoying little step, but there it is. And now we're going to click Done. Okay. All right, so that is Emily. So far, that's Emily's rate. Now we're going to add her actual time. Okay. So we're going to add her time to the project, and we're going to click on the Japanese fountain project. Remember, right now we're in the project center. So if I had multiple projects, you'd be able to see the list of all of the different projects right down here, and you'd be able to compare the profitability with each of them. Notice the profit margin right here for all of them is just right there where you can see it. That's what's so great about projects, is just this instant view of how you're doing for these for this individual project. Okay, but now we're going to go into the project itself, into the Japanese fountain, and we're going to click, let me go to my exercise, I don't want to get ahead of myself. So we just clicked Japanese fountain. Okay, and now we're going to do add to project again. Okay, but this time we're going to select time. Okay, so right here is time. It automatically selects Emily. That's only because she is the first one alphabetically in the list. So it's already there. The cost rate, $25, is already there because that's what we just set up in the previous steps. The project is already there because we're inside the project when we clicked Add to Project. Now we have to say what she did. Okay, so she's the one that did the custom design. So let's go to steps 8 through 10. Okay, in the service field, enter design. Design right there. Okay, we are not charging the customer for this. Okay, we are charging the customer a flat fee. We're not charging them for her actual time, so it's not billable. And then for the time, remember that it was 5.7 hours. Okay, 5.7, and if I, or sorry, 5.75. So I put 5.75, and notice what happens when I tab out of the field. It converts it automatically to hours and minutes. So that is a cool little feature there. Okay. So that's 5.75. Tab converted it to decimals and minutes, or it converts the decimals to hours and minutes. Now we're just going to click save and close. Okay, save and close. And now what's happening? Our costs are increasing, and now we have Emily's time cost right there. So our profit margin, the more we spend against this project, the lower our profit margin is. There's still a lot of stuff to do. Remember our goal in the beginning, Craig really wanted to have a 30% profit margin. So let's see if we are going to be able to make that. Okay, so let's go on to part 3. That's what I just showed you. Although I didn't show you, let's see. So right here, this $143.7 or $143.75, that is Emily's cost rate, $25, times the hours 5.75. Okay, so that's how this $143.75 was calculated. All right, so that is looking at the project. Next, we are going to have part 4. Joel, this scenario should say part 4 : just like the others do. So Craig's employee, John Johnson, did the installation, which should only have taken 2 days. Remember, that's what we put on the invoice in the beginning. We said 2 days times, 8 hours, 16 hours. Okay, remember all that? On the second day, however, he ran into some problems with the fountain nozzle. He called his buddy Jeff Hicks to come help. Jeff stopped by with some parts from his hardware store. Joel, if we could change this he to Jeff, that'd be great. Jeff stopped by with some parts from his hardware store, and on the third day, John finished up after an additional 4 hours. Now we're going to help John fill out a weekly timesheet to track this, and then we're going to enter the bill Craig received from Hicks Hardware, which included $150 worth of labor help and $23.50 worth of parts. Okay, so let's put all of this together. Step 1. Before entering John's time, we're going to have to enter his rate, just like we did with Emily. So again, I am inside the project. I have to go to the project center to access the employee hourly rate. Okay, so here is the I'm now in the project center. I'm going to click employee hourly rate. Okay, I previously did Emily. Now we're going to add John. I can't remember what we said it was. So here's getting back to that. Step 2, okay, hourly rate. That's what we just did. Okay. John's rate is $40. And here's my same little speech I gave you about Emily, is that this is not how much you pay her, nor is it how much you charge for her time. This is how much he costs you. Okay, so then I have to click save. and then I would click done. So now John Johnson is in there, and then we click save and done. Now we're going to go to step 6, and we're going to click at plus new and then select weekly timesheet. So you'll notice last time what we did was we added to the project. Nope, not that one. Nope, not that. That was new project. Sorry. Inside the project. We did add to project before, and this time right here is available, but that was a single time activity. So if you want to do a weekly timesheet, then you have to use, this time you have to use the plus new button. Let me just get back to this screen so I'm in the same place as you guys. Then we're going to hit plus new, and here we have weekly timesheet. Okay. All right, let's walk through this. Okay, so this is what we did. Step 7, use the drop down to select John Johnson. Let's do that. Okay, remember I said Emily is automatically selected. That's just because she's first alphabetically in the list. So we're going to select John Johnson. Okay, in the details section, we're going to select Japanese fountain as the project. Okay, so right here it says choose a customer, or you can't see it, but it says project there. So we're going to type in Japanese fountain. Okay, this cost rate, remember, this is what you put in previously. For the service, it was installation. Okay, so there's the installation. Again, we're not billing Sushi by Katsuki. We're not billing by his time. We're charging him a flat fee. So we're not going to put in the billable. We're not going to make that billable. And then here were the hours. It should have been 8 hours for Monday, 8 hours for Tuesday. But then we had these problems. And so he ended up having to have an extra half day on Wednesday. Okay, so let's go ahead and add that. So 8 hours on Monday, 8 hours on Tuesday, and then 4 hours on Wednesday. Okay. And then I'm going to click save and close. Okay. All right. We're almost done, guys. Step 8. Now we have to add the bill from Hicks Hardware. Okay. So remember, his friend Jeff Hicks stopped by and helped him out, and he's charging him for his time, and he's charging for the parts that he had to bring. So we've got a bill here. So we're going to hit plus new and bill. Again, we could do it inside the project and select add to project, but we're not going to. We're going to hit plus new, and we're going to do bill. This is very similar to the expense for Crystal Lighting Supply. We're going to hit select Hicks Hardware. And what did he do? Let's go back to our exercise. Step 9. Okay, so in the vendor field, we selected Hicks Hardware. We're going to select the category details grid. Okay, and so we have $150 of maintenance and repairs. Okay, and this is the account that we want to use. Okay, $150 of maintenance and repairs. Oh, we've got we've got a bunch of maintenance and repairs accounts here. Which one do we want? We want the one that is cost of labor. Okay, so sub account of cost of labor. That's the one we want. Again, if I were the bookkeeper, I would clean out this chart of accounts. It's too similar, too much similar stuff. All right, so we're going to say, so that was the helping repair the fountain nozzle. Helping repair fountain nozzle. And he charged him $150 for that. And then remember, the only way that we know that this is for that project is because we're indicating it right here. So we're putting right here, we want this to go be marked against that project. Okay, so we've got $150 for the maintenance and repair, And then we also have some parts here, okay, fountain nozzle parts. And then as before, we want to use just the single S, not the double S, or not the plural S. Fountain, oops. Okay, single S. And then what did I call it here? Fountain nozzle parts. Fountain, oops. Fountain nozzle parts. Again, we don't track the fountain nozzle parts is not something that we keep in the products and services list. We don't keep track of how much we bought of it. So that's why we're using the category details up here and not the item details. Let's see how much it was, $23.50. $23.50. And again, we want to make sure that it is the Japanese fountain. Okay, so there's our total bill. And because this is accrual, when we put, as soon as we put in the bill, we consider it already as having been paid for. If this were cash, if they were on a cash basis, then it would not show up on the project until the bill was paid. Okay, so I'm going to click save and close. Okay, so that was step 11. So now here we have the big question. The whole reason we were keeping track of projects is, did he maintain his profitability? Was he able to keep that 30%? Well, let's see. When we go back here, the project is updated. So here we are inside the Japanese. If we look at the Japanese fountain, you see that the profit margin is only 16.9%. And we can look at the details more, okay? And we can see we charged $1,690. And then, but these were our costs. The two people, John Johnson, went over because he worked an extra 4 hours. And then also we had more expenses because we had Jeff had to stop by and help, and we had extra parts. So we didn't make we were still profitable. So we're still profitable, but just not as high as Craig had hoped. All right. And that's it, guys. Were there any other questions that I can answer? Usually if you guys have a question, you ask it like right in the middle of the thing. And so hopefully I didn't lose anybody, because if I had, I think you would have piped up. But if you have any other questions, I'm here to answer them. And if not, then I will see you next time. And I can't wait to hear your success story.